a slightly different style of rugby from Scotland. It seemed to work
and we
in that
are
match
live.
against France, and it'll be interesting to see how they have continued to develop that theme. Well, here we go. England, the reigning champions, back-to-back Grand Slams in 2019 and 2020, led out by Emily Scarrett in the absence of regular captain Sarah Hunter. And now you will notice that England are wearing black armbands here today. It's a mark of respect after Paul Dow, the father of England.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Paul was also a coach with...
Looking forward to some more Six Nations rugby. Well, England just making that slow walk, calm heads, of course. Back in 2 seconds, everyone.
They line up and they look up at the stand in Doncaster. You will notice the shirts there of all the clubs that can't be in the stands today. A nice mark by the Rugby Football Union. Now, before we have the anthems, rugby will make its stand against racism in any form.
Yeah, I can get a link for everyone. Hang on, just want to sign in.
Starting course with Flower Scotland.
Oh. Dog has arrived. It sounds harsh, but the Scottish national anthem is not the nicest national anthem. That might sound a bit mean.
Everyone here at Doncaster will remain on their feet for God Save the Queen.
How is everyone doing on the Saturday afternoon? I hope everyone's got a drink. It seems like I'm drinking every day. Alcohol is on the go. It's not great, is it, the singing? They don't even get the big a big stadium. Bearing in mind the men's rugby was not played in front of anyone. They could at least get a nice big stadium.
There's a return from injury for Kath O'Donnell in the second row, but a special moment for Bryony Cleal wearing 3. It's been 2 years, an enormous battle with injury to be back in the mix, but only has second cap today. take a look.
My point about the Scottish national anthem isn't necessarily the song, it's the bagpipes. Bagpipes, I'm sorry, bagpipes are just not a nice sound. They really aren't a nice sound.
Along with Stirling County Siobhan Catigan at 8. She comes in after the ever-impressive Jade Conkle has opted to step away from rugby to start a career with the London Fire. Well, on the benches, lots of interest around Wasp Meg Jones and where she'll come in and play for England, while it could be a Scotland debut for Stirling County's Evie Gallagher.
Yeah, thirsty guy, I agree. They could technically play on any ground, but equality and all that.
Back in the mix, but for me the interesting one is Zoe Orcroft. She's slotting in at 6. We normally see her in the second row.
So you guys know more than me. What are we thinking? England or Scotland to win? I have no idea how good these women are.
She's been going in great form for Gloucester Hart. We're looking forward to seeing how she goes out there.
Well, I reckon. Rugby, there are 2 Cleo sisters on the pitch. They are identical twins.
Oh man, we got identical twins. How the hell are we going to know who's who? I don't know who's who at the best of times, to be fair.
England get us underway, and the 2021 Women's Six Nations has finally started. A tense contest as Scotland gather the ball. And here comes Catigan, wearing 8 for Scotland. McDonald there, not really got a runner onto the ball.
I've just put the link in the chat for the game, for anyone that wants it.
Comes down towards this near side. McKenna. Here comes the running feed of Rowland. You can tell she plays 7s. Riley. Back down the England line. Tuima passes out to the far side. Ward on the floor.
No problem.
Clear. Riley. Nice soft hands there from England. And there's Kath O'Donnell, spoken about as an enforcer by Simon Middleton this week. Packer. Aldcroft. Still going here, it's Poppy Clear on the ball for England. She's handing off everyone in her sights. Eventually Scotland drag her down to the turf.
So obviously going from watching men's rugby to women's rugby, I'm going to assume that the similarities are very similar to women's and men's football, in the fact that in football, women haven't had the time to train up and generally get better. They haven't got the finances behind them. And therefore the play is a little bit slower. So in football, in women's football, sometimes it can be good quality, but it's just slower. Yeah, it's a slower pace game, which I think someone mentioned in the chat earlier on.
So we know what her quality is, and just brilliant play.
Well, our referee at the moment, the penalty was for offside, and she's appealing for a ball at the moment. Eventually she's got one.
Here you see it, just the hands through as she's falling. Poppy Clear does brilliantly just to wait behind, allow her to release her hands, and again keeping the ball alive is what I love to see. Great strength from Vicky Cornborough. England really showing their intent early.
I think it's a shame that they're not putting this on mainstream TV. And actually, even looking on iPlayer was a struggle. I had to Google the match rather than actually finding it easily on iPlayer.
The ball is in there somewhere, and it is Lark Davis who's got it at the moment. The referee is watching to see if this is still moving in the right direction. Big hits coming in from Scotland to try and deal with this. Eventually, England do release the backs. Another crossfield kick. It does land in the field of play. Oh, not going to be there on that occasion. Lydia Thompson doing everything she can, but the ball's just about a metre too far every time.
I love the intent from Rowland. Both kicks have just had a little bit too much on it, as you mentioned, but what about that from Scotland? That is advantage Scotland for me. Every time England go in, they're looking to score from those driving mauls. The setup was good, but how good was that Scottish defence coming back through? Fantastic play by them, and that will be a real confidence boost this early on in the game.
That's twice now that they've given the ball away. England have given the ball away by it going over the arms and then into touch. Yes, Adam, it is on the red button as well. I think if you've got a telly in front of you.
A little bit of a knock on at the back there by Riley, and this is a chance for us to get to see a Scotland scrum. A big moment here. You've got Cornborough, Davis, and Cleal in the front row going up against Bartlett, Skeldon, and Belisle. A little bit of treatment before it all gets going. So one of the Scotland players, I think it might be Emma Wassell. Oh no, it's the captain, Rachel Malcolm, just receiving a little bit of treatment. Everyone's calmed down at the moment. You've mentioned Scotland there. They've been speaking a lot this week about their determination and how they're not afraid of England. It's wonderful to hear.
It really is, and how much of that is a boost from what their men did, going down to Twickenham, beating England on their home soil. But for me, you can see their intent, that driving ball setup, so difficult to defend. When the attack get it right, it is so difficult to defend.
What are those altered rules?
England, they got the ball transferred back really quickly. But just the sheer determination of those Scots not to let England over the line. It's a win every time you're passing the ball out to try and get it through the backs. It means that you can't go through the forwards, and that's advantage to Scotland right now.
Well, Rachel Malcolm is still receiving a little bit of treatment to her leg at the moment, but it seems she's going to be happy to play on covered in sticky tape. Of course, Rachel Malcolm, she's actually one of the Scotland players who doesn't have a contract. 9 of them do, but she's not actually one of them. And we should call her Dr. Rachel Malcolm, of course. She has a PhD, and she also takes lectures. I think it's with Nottingham Trent University. Very clever woman.
God, it's a bit early to be strapped up, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic rugby player, but also a fantastic leader. She got a knock in the first minute of the game, and I'm just praying that she can continue and play on in this game, because she's huge for this team. She's the emotional barometer. She really does drag them through. You can see the passion in the anthem, like how much she loves playing for this team, and I just keep everything crossed that she can continue and stay on the field.
Helen Nelson there just having a chat with Mari McDonald, 9 and 10, just comparing notes about what they're going to do there. Nelson just making way also to Lisa Thompson for a little chat, so clearly something is brewing.
I anticipate them sending this long. They've spent a lot of time in these opening exchanges in their own half. They're under a lot of pressure at the minute, so for me, I anticipate this going either through the lengthy boot of Nelson or Thompson, both very good kickers in their own right and kicking downfield.
I assume the women play 80 minutes as well.
Sat in the backfield on her own.
I'm going to assume.
An interesting tactic for me from England. I would have put somebody back. As I mentioned, that Jess Brink just starting to make her way. But there's a lot of space for Sarah McKenna to cover.
Scrum, it's tasty in there, it's really hard. Eventually Scotland do get a nudge on there, and we've got scrum half on scrum half. McDonald versus Riley. Does get coughed up on the Scotland side. McMillan there in a real tricky position on the floor. Nelson. It's charged down. Marley Packer is there. It was open play ball. She can do that. So Scotland have given the ball back to England.
England got that ball back nicely.
Towards the 22. Referee doesn't like it. Scotland get to clear their lines.
A really good charge down, wasn't it, by Riley? Something that England have hammered home for many years, just making sure the 9 goes after the kicker. And
shortening games. They're on the pitch together already, so yes, if they're thinking about COVID, but if they were thinking about COVID, they just wouldn't play the games in the first place, because what's the difference between playing 80 minutes and 50 minutes? You know, for example, you're still in contact. You're still in the scrums. Yeah, it's not going to make any difference time, is it?
Lana Skelton there is positively sprightly to go and gather that ball and get this going. Oh, what a great ball taken at the back by Scotland. Nelson. McDonald manages to find Wassell. Nice stuff from Smith on the far side, but she's caught in the end. And England get it back.
Yeah, I think you're right, Blue Jay. It's almost assuming women are like children. You know, youth football, for example, is less time because you assume they're not quite as capable as playing the full 90. But she made up some decent distance, number 11. I tell you, something I've noticed from this women's game actually is you really do have all shapes and sizes in this team. For both teams, you've got the women that are big women, and then you've almost got those dainty. I say dainty. They've a lot of them still quite muscly, but you've got those dainty-ish sort of women as well. So it certainly seems like a game where, for them, it doesn't really matter what size you are, as long as you are got the technical ability.
And they get their wingers to chase, but instead change of tactic. Lovely hands by Emily Scarrett, really good timing on the ball, and Jess Breach is just brilliant running in space. What about that tackle from Megan Gaffney though? Literally textbook chop around the ankle. It was fantastic stuff.
Well, this was England attacking down that far side, and Jess Breach is a real threat.
Yeah, she really is. For me, you just see Hannah Smith and McDonald in the backfield. They just need to push up into the line at that point, plug the hole and make it harder to get around the outside.
Slight overthrow by Davis.
To be fair, it's all England. It really is all England, isn't it?
Wassell again. Warning there for Scotland to get back on side as England push the ball towards the edge of the field. And who's out there? It's Scarrett. Cleel to her sister.
Oh,
This is great.
oh, not quite.
England. Wonderful stuff from the forwards as Packer is there to try and gather. Packer's still going. Packer goes over.
Dry.
Our referee will go and check it. But Marley Packer
Didn't look like any forward passes there.
The Six Nations.
She's so good at that, isn't she?
Yeah, I think David, someone said that earlier, that there's only 2 or 3 teams that are professional.
She's so dangerous. You have to get players.
But you can understand why. You can understand why that there's not many professional teams and countries, because where's the money? Where's the money to pay for these women? And this, once again, this goes to the whole equal pay. In sport, there's no, you can't have equal pay because it's all on, it's all on how much the clubs, the players, the leagues bring in financially through the revenue. If they don't bring in the revenue, then you can't have professional teams because you can't pay the wages. But even then, I'm not sure quite where the money comes from, even in England, to be honest.
Complete here to give this try. So Marley Packer does score the opening try of the 2021 Women's Six Nations, and Emily Scarrett will line up the conversion.
Yeah, it was a brilliant finish in the end from Marley Packer, wasn't it? So often
I think you mentioned Blue Jay, you mentioned America, but I'm not sure if that is the case, because yeah, I just don't think that's the case, because bear in mind there's been American women football players on telly, on the old chat shows, demanding equal pay. So I think football players make more money over there, women-wise, because it's seen as a girl's sport over there, doesn't it? But even then, they're still complaining about what the wage gap. But until you bring in millions and millions like Cristiano Ronaldo, it's just not the way it works. No, there's not a lot. There's clearly not a lot of money. If you're not getting in the viewers, you don't make much money on YouTube.
Putting it straight back in there. You know that England, they're going to want to clear their lines. They look to clear within 1 or 2 phases consistently. So put it down there, put the pressure on. Brilliant chase from Megan Gaffney, and see what Scotland are made of at this one.
Oh, Mick, you want to talk about half time? It's all about a Bovril. Oh, I love a Bovril at half time when I go to watch Saints, Southampton. But don't talk about the prices.
McDonald again, nice back inside to Nelson. Skeldon got support just on our shoulder by Bilal. Nice pass from Smith. Manages to find a skipper and Malcolm.
I think this is going to be an absolute domination. Absolute domination from England, I think.
Can't seem to break into the 22. Yeah, it is frustrating, and referee's really quick on the whistle, isn't she, in terms of the holding on as soon as you're there. Almost sevens. Normally there's a bit of a
so,
breathe to allow
talking about obviously this only being on YouTube and red button.
They're going to have to look at.
If you look at what's on telly at the moment, for example, let me look at the TV guide and just look on BBC. The BBC is currently showing Escape to the Country and Death on the Nile from 1978. Now, did they? It's just BBC Two, for example, is playing rubbish films all day. Death on the Nile and Evil Under the Sun. Well, do they really need to be showing those two films from many, many, many years ago when they could be showing this, which at the end of the day is representing two of the home nations, what the BBC is a part of. So yeah, I don't think that's good of them. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are rugby, support rugby union and want to watch.
McKenna to Scarrett. Nice soft hands once again. Packard didn't have anyone behind there, but there was an England player to do the tidy up job. Holcroft again.
Have I done fantasy team? No. Reese, I haven't, mate. I wouldn't even know where to start. Bearing in mind I know none of the players. So it'd be pure pot luck.
Oh, she's desperately trying to make sure her tiptoes don't end up on the whitewash.
Mick, you're saying do a review on food, but surely it'll taste the same, doesn't it? I know at football level it does. These days at football, they at the higher leagues, they just get a company in to do it.
A little bit of almost being unsure of herself there, Helen Nelson, about trying to clear that one away. She's made good ground.
Well, David, at least that's something, I suppose.
Initial break, wasn't it, by Nelson?
What you say they're showing the final match, but obviously, is it not the same as the men's where they've got the last day with all the games in one day? Because really, if they're going to do that, at least they should show all of the 3 games.
Just so hard, she almost felt like she was through, and Bryony Cleo comes in with the side swipe, just dislodges the ball, but promising again from Scotland. The rip, there's just this not giving up attitude, but they've got to be able to keep that composure and clear their lines. They cannot play this much of the game in their own 22.
It's probably a bit late now, Reese, mate. I think you're probably right. It's a good way to get to know the players, but I could be looking out for the players that I've got in my team, but I think it might be a bit late now, as the game's already started.
She just wants to reset it. She's happy for them to pack that down. If you're trying to keep an eye on how England perhaps played in the last
Two groups of
they did score most of their tries from line-outs.
Wow.
11 that they got from line-out in 2020. 9 did come from a scrum. Roland with the pass to Scarrett. Here comes Tuima. Pass out line. Still, Thompson can't quite get that last pass cleanly to her. We're playing advantage though to Scotland. I think they're giving them the choice if they want the knock-on or the liner.
It's just beautiful play, isn't it? Emily Scarrett is having an absolute field day with this defence. What you get from Scarrett having her in your team is everyone eyeballs her, everyone talks about her, everyone knows what a threat she is. But she has such soft hands that she carries to the line and then she becomes a distributor. And the timing of her pass is absolutely exemplary.
No easy throw-ins for Scotland. She's done so well so far.
Well, they surely don't do that, do they? Have the men and women at the same on the same days? Yeah.
Box kick comes in from McDonald.
At the end of the day, whether you like it or not, if they're on the same day, then people are going to watch the men, aren't they?
Riley, McKenna, Scarrett, Tuima, who's hanging out there on that left wing. Poppy clean.
Which number is Scarrett?
Big hit going on Marley Packer as it ends up with Bryony Cleal. Hands going through, still it's Ward now. 5 metres for England left to travel. If they can execute, here's Riley. Riley going forward. Try given. Harlequins, Leanne Riley gets England's second.
13. I'll keep an eye out. See if I'm impressed.
It's just relentless pressure, isn't it, from England? They're just coming in waves and waves and waves, and Scotland are really, really struggling to be able to stunt it. They're coming around the corner at such speed. It's a brilliant finish and a great pick by Leanne Riley, just testing.
I find it funny because
It looks like she might have
the
been
pre-match they said how Scotland weren't fearing England, but
how she landed, she could
at this rate I think they probably are / should have been, because this is not going to go well for Scotland.
Trying to stop that, and Mary McDonald just goes a little bit high, probably expects the pass. Leanne Riley, as she's been doing for Harlequins all season, just shows the slight dummy bit of footwork and gets in and around, but yeah, looks as though she might have winded herself in the process.
So I tell you what, the question is. Oh, happy out! Thanks for subscribing if you're in here. The question is, as there's a break in play, who started on their Easter eggs a day early? I may have had a whole Easter egg just before the game. That was my lunch, an Easter egg.
Scarrett lines up her second shot at goal.
I'm sorry, you shouldn't be missing that. That might be being overcritical, but you should not be missing that.
From the television match official.
That was a dreadful kick.
I think they're just checking on the time at the moment.
That was a dreadful kick. Reese, man, which one did you have? That's the question. You started it to be so. We started eating them yesterday, but because me and Charlie, my wife, we bought some little Easter eggs because they look really cool, and obviously we've done a video ready for tomorrow morning, so you know we had to eat them. You know, it wasn't our fault. We had to.
Brilliant to see.
Really long restart there from Scotland. And it seems to be working for them because Roland just seems to slightly scuff the ball on that angle each time.
It does feel like there's a bit of a breeze. And
Cypher, what do you mean you're cutting down on Easter eggs? What's wrong with you, man?
but she's got a
You got problems. Easter eggs are amazing.
her foot through the ball, so
Unless they're Nestle. Nestle eggs are not amazing. They're disgusting.
It's the third time Scotland have had a line out in this position. Can they finally break into the 22 on this occasion? Good arm wrestle going in there with the forwards, and Scotland get the penalty.
So, thirsty guy. I've watched 2 rugby league games now, and that is the one thing I think was disappointing, was the kicking in rugby league. They just seem to not be able to convert, and some of them weren't even that difficult. And I know there's a difference between international level and obviously league level, but surely you can kick it, you know, through those posts. Oh man, cream eggs. I'm not a fan of cream eggs.
Scotland, 10 metres out. Gone long again. So much credit has to go to Skeldon there. Big throws that she has executed so well. McDonald there goes Thompson. Big crash
Come
there
on,
from the
Scotland.
outside.
I'm not even supporting Scotland, but I just want them to get a try, just to get back in a little bit.
Bartlett arrived late to offer support there. It was a loose ball. It's been
You just want it, like I said, I don't necessarily want Scotland to win, but I just want it to be a little bit closer to make it more interesting.
been pushed backwards on the ball. Russell. And just recycle, go around the court.
I would assume they use the same size ball. So I got another story. I've got a story for you. So I think someone in one of the live streams had the idea, because I was talking about kicking through the post and saying it looked easy and whatnot. They were like, "Oh, you should do a video of you trying to kick a ball through the post." So I ordered a rugby ball, ordered a little stand for it, and so ordered it. However, what arrived was a size 3 ball, and I thought I probably should get a full size ball. So that's, yeah, if I get a knock on the door, it'll be probably be the size 5 ball.
Just absolutely brilliant going up at the front. I think Zoe Allcroft has defended that so well, but just a change in tack to go up at the back like that. And as you mentioned, Lana Skeldon, brilliant ball to hit it on the money, first time in the 22.
Well, Helen Nelson is going to kick for goal. How important are these points going on the board here, if they do for Scotland, considering they've been nilled by England a number of times, last time out 53?
It's huge. I don't think they'll be thinking about the points to not come away with nothing on the score sheet. I think they'll be trying to keep a foothold into the game. This is the first time they've gone into the 22. And they've come.
Gosh, you put some welly behind that kick.
It's brilliant game management from them. If they can exit really strongly now, I'm sure that they'll be back down in the 22 and fighting again.
Helen Nelson from Loughborough Lightning with the kicks, and that's Scotland captain who also plays at Loughborough, who is running back there as Brian Easton looks on. Rolling with the restart, and she's kicking that ball into the wind. England have got the wind against
So,
them in this
as I
one.
said,
Scotland have got the
I've got a rugby pitch over the well, I say over the road, on the other side, 2 minutes down the road. So when this ball arrives at some point this week,
coming down.
I'm going to go there and see how easy or difficult it is. I will record it,
McDonald.
and after me saying how easy it looks, I may end up with pie on my face. I don't know yet. We'll see.
McMillan there, who really had to shut
But
the
people will be
shoulders
happy if you watch the video when I put it up at some point. You're happy to. I'm happy for you to take the mick out of me.
Slightly loose there.
If I do a bad job, obviously.
England get given a gift just outside of the Scotland 22. Right. Just trying to flood that far side channel. Looks like it's another knock on. So they'll come back for the first one.
Yeah, it's just tough, that, isn't it, from Cadogan? For me, if you're going to play, you've got to just be so solid in this area. Scotland weren't really going anywhere. They had 4 or 5 phases, not really going anywhere. Put Nelson, put Thompson in the pocket, send it long. Don't play rugby in your half when you've just got yourself back on the scoreboard. As it is, they've been let off. They've got a scrum down. I'm sure we'll see them exit from this.
Well, they're just having a few running repairs and the water coming onto the field at the moment. So we've spoken about Siobhan Castigan coming in.
I'm not sure how good my wife will be, to be honest. She actually,
just for a little bit to do the London Fire Brigade. And
what am I going to say? My wife used to play football at youth level up to about the age of 16, I think. Maybe 15. But she, I think there was a tackle or something and she bent her knee backwards and basically she's got metal kneecaps now because she'd done her ACL. So I'm not sure if she'd be able to put the power into it. But maybe if she has a day off, maybe on Monday if she's got the day off on Monday, we'll go to the field and have some kicking if the ball arrives. I could do with a laugh as well watching her, to be fair.
And I'm sure she'll grow through the tournament.
Scotland get the ball in and it's Castigan.
To be fair, a drop goal shouldn't be any different to someone taking, not a goal kick, but when the goalie's got it in his hands and kicking it up the field in football. Yeah, just take the wife so she can go get the ball for me after I've kicked it.
Really good pressure, wasn't it, at the back of the scrum again from Leanne Riley. I think McDonald can just potentially help her out a little bit.
Was the 2003 the Johnny Wilkinson, or was that 2008?
Make yourself a bit bigger there.
I'm sure it's one of them, wasn't it?
Floor work from Lark Davis again. Has been doing it all season for Loughborough Lightning.
Yeah, you hear about
Not much there.
oh man, it's like the old freestylers that might get a contract or something.
Penalties for Scotland through from England. But,
A drop goal has to bounce. Oh man, that'd be a bit tricky with an egg-shaped ball.
Lark Davis has it, and the shove is on. This is moving.
Oh man, that would be a bit tricky.
Get their hands over the top here, but this is looking good for England. That one's over the line. Try number 3. Lark Davis has been doing that all season for Loughborough. She's now doing it in a white shirt too.
I'm not sure, Fabio, how easy it'll be. I think. Oh, I don't know, Samson. I don't know. Which was the one that Johnny Wilkinson won it by doing a drop goal? Because that's the only rugby I really remember.
Look at this. Fantastic catch. Everyone's ready. Everyone's in their position. You see Vicky Corcoran, number 1, digging to get her hands in. Lark Davis straight on ball, and then you can just see the legs driving. Scotland working really hard. You see Emily
2003. I was close-ish on it.
working really hard there, but
Guys, as there's another break in play, if you are watching, I'd massively appreciate it if you can hit that like button down below.
I said a little bit before that
That'd be really kind if you can do that.
all season at club level.
2008 was, I can't even remember what years what.
That's how well she's doing in the league.
Got it.
Emily Scarrett, no mistake on that occasion.
There we go. There's your favourite, Scarrett.
In Doncaster, it's
She can kick a ball.
19 Scotland through.
yeah, she wasn't going to miss that one after the last one came off the woodwork, was she? But there you see it again, just really good control, great control from Leanne Riley at the back, telling Lark exactly where the line is, when to drop, as all good scrum halves do.
Restart then from Scotland to Helena Rose.
Oh yeah, go join the Discord as well, guys.
Touch there off a Scottish hand. Ends up in the end in the hands of Chloe Rolly. Thompson gets it away to Nelson.
Oh, take that.
That English defensive line was flying up in Scotland.
Sit down.
Get the penalty. That is ferocious defence.
Poppy Cleo, take a bow. That was absolutely epic. You just see here Scotland moving the ball. You kind of need the chat from the outside in just to say carry. Nelson probably could have gone herself on that one. As Poppy Cleo.
Not quite a hospital pass, but close to it, I think.
Scotland have just gone off their feet. They've just tried to seal the ball too quickly because they know the counter-attack's coming from England.
when it comes to Poppy Cleal, a lot of time talk about England and great players, all attention goes to Emily Scarratt and Sarah Hunter, but Poppy Cleal, one of the best players in the world at the moment?
Oh, absolutely, without a question. I think her hands, her tackling ability, her work around the pitch, her footwork, everything about her game is absolutely unbelievable. And to play with her and against her, she's just unreal.
Go on, Scotland. It's going to bounce the wrong direction. Silly balls.
Try and chase that one down this near side. Comes out of play. England have lost quite a bit of ground there, and it's going to be brought back for an English line-out on this near side.
I'm gutted. I would have loved to have seen a foot race. Chloe Rowley against Lydia Thompson, two of the quickest players with the best footwork in the game. For England though, it's just that last pass, isn't it? That last pass isn't quite sticking in the wide channels.
Oh, that's gone long. And it's Scotland who now have the ball right in the middle. They can split England here and try and create some space. Thompson.
I find it amazing that you guys actually know, you know, the women, you know, the specifics of each player, because I don't think that's the case in football. Even if you're a die-hard football fan, I don't think many people pay enough attention to women's football, or if they do, they're more focused on the women's football. So they don't necessarily then know about the men. But it seems like you guys in this chat, you were very knowledgeable about women and men. I'm impressed. Well done. Give yourself a pat on the back and all that.
You can hear the shouts from the pitch of Scotland almost saying to each other, move. I want the ball. They need the position. There's a real scrap here on the floor to try and sort this one out, and it's Scotland who get the ball in the end, but that was messy.
Yeah, and I've heard that thirsty guy about, you know, football teams and rugby is the sport.
Every time she's catching the ball, there's so much good footwork. She's getting her hands free or offloading. Scotland are just trying to mix it up. You saw the inside ball just there.
The problem is, it's all well and good knowing about the sport and the players,
so difficult to break down,
but there's a lot of games, there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of players. There's a lot to watch. There's a lot to watch. Every day it seems there's rugby league or rugby union on.
A lot of the forwards, they weren't that keen on having too many scrums today, because arguably they're perhaps not as scrum fit as normal. So all this play around the field will be an absolute delight to them. But another penalty opportunity here for Scotland.
This line-up battle's heating up, isn't it? Zoe Allcroft against Wazor. Both know each other.
Come on, Scotland. Just
in the mix as well.
we need a try, don't we? We need a try and then a conversion.
They do it all the time. Let's see what Scotland have got now.
Yeah, as Natasha says there, Emma Wazor, she does run the Scotland line out. Winning her 45th cap today. This really is her bread and butter.
Just want this to be a bit closer for the excitement factor.
Scotland have been here before. What can they do on this occasion? And I thought they could break free there. Just try and gather, go around the corner.
To be fair, I said I've watched now Castleford versus Warrington, and yesterday we watched Castleford versus Leeds, and actually I think League is quite enjoyable to watch. It's more free flowing, it's easier on the eyes, so I did quite enjoy it. The problem is it's not something I can get involved in because there's a Southampton rugby league club, and then the closest is London or Weymouth, and it just, yeah, it's just too northern.
We've been waiting to see, isn't it? Really good touch finder from Helena, just making sure that she puts it into the stand as well, so that Scotland don't get the opportunity to counter-attack. But really good rip from Emily Scarratt on the ball. Potentially knee down. I think Malcolm's a bit aggrieved about that one, but really good rip, really good control from England. And then they managed to breathe again.
Yeah. But it's fine. It's strange because I said when I was watching the first rugby league game last weekend or week, yeah, it was last weekend. I did a quick search and hello, Kian. Hello, mate. Yeah, I did a quick search and I said there is a rugby league team in Southampton about 10-15 minutes down the road from me. But how they actually play, because like I said, the closest is Weymouth or London, so miles and miles away. I don't understand where they actually. I'm sorry. No, Samson. I do enjoy the rugby league and union. It's funny because in the league, when I'm doing the league live chats, live watch-alongs, because now I've watched 2 Castleford games. It's we're converting Rob to being a rugby league Castleford fan. I'm like, I'm just watching everything. What's wrong with she ain't getting through. No. Yeah, what's wrong with liking league and union? We don't need the rivalry. It's all rugby. It's all under the same umbrella.
England have the penalty advantage as well. Back inside, it's Bridie Cleo who goes over. Topped off by her identical sister, Poppy. If that try is given, I think it has been. That is England's 4th try, and that is the bonus point as Scotland get a warning.
What league teams are near you, Kian? Mr. Alexander Mahoney, go and look. Go and look. Well, actually, I'll tell you what I'll do, Mr. Mahoney. I'll help you out. I will help you out. My channel. Videos. Where is it? Where is it?
So fantastic to see.
Right, Mr. Mahoney. I'm attaching a link for you.
There's the conversion from Emily Scarrett. England 26, Scotland 3. And there is
there you go, just for you, buddy.
Gone into the bin. It'll be frustrating here for Scotland.
Oh, you got Leeds Rhinos near you then, and Huddersfield. They're biggest teams, I think, aren't they?
The try was scored. You can see it went to Poppy, who gave it there to Bryony. Happy day in the Clear household.
I said so.
Absolutely is.
I think there's reasons to enjoy league and there's reasons to enjoy union. I think league, like I said, league is just league is easier to follow. It's easier to watch. It's like I said, it's easier on the eyes because there's not those rucks all the time that you wonder what's going on. Whereas obviously, league, it's just straightforward. Player gets taken down, everyone moves away. I assume as well it's probably easier to referee league because there's not those subjective calls to make in the rucks.
Riley, nice take off the floor. Crossfield from Ronan. You can see the wind.
How do you think, Kian? How do you think? I don't understand how you think league is slow paced. I think league's faster. Adam, you're not a fan. Not a fan.
She's done so well with ball in hand, hasn't she, Jess Breach?
I'm through one count already.
Earlier in the week on Women's Six Nations Twitter, but
what drinks have people got on the go? That's the question.
Not the best crossover from Helena Rowland. You can see she's a bit disappointed with that, but Breach just waits for it to land around the outside. Ball transfer.
Cypher, you say Breach is your dad's favourite player. Why? Is it the ability or is it the looks?
See the Fen there, she just backs herself down.
What is it? Looks or ability? Diet Coke, coffee.
Rolly, week in, week out, so
Oh,
she knows
guys.
how to take her on. Brilliant finish.
Quinn's teammates Chloe Rolly and
I think
actually obliged to say whenever Jess
it's 5 o'clock somewhere, guys.
everyone that she scored 6 tries on debut against Canada.
I've gone for a...
I think everyone knows that one now.
I still get told off for not giving her player of the match that day.
there you go. A bit of Aldi cider.
They were run-ins.
Why not both? Yeah, that's
The
true.
conversion is good for
She's a pretty girl.
I think they've had a few issues with the
As long as my wife's not watching.
and what's going on in the truck. So that is half time here at Doncaster, and England have a commanding lead.
It is half time. It is time for...
Scotland 3. Natasha, first of all,
It's time for the Ask Rob section. Ask Rob anything.
the thing they need to really switch on with is how they're
Doesn't have to be rugby related. I can answer any question you want within reason.
Sending it long and after it and seeing what England can do, but equally you can't kick loose because we've
And I said, I did say just now,
so if you're going to kick
if you can like, if you're in this stream, even if you don't like the stream, hit that like button.
happier of the two
That'll make me a very happy person.
rooms, but the half time at Doncaster, England 33.
Musketeers, am I right that wingers don't really get involved in the rucks? I think that's roughly right, isn't it? I must also say, guys, I know it was 22 people in. I think we had more for the men's rugby. So I think the men's rugby union. So I think there is obviously more people wanting to watch that. But it's great that actually you guys are wanting to watch and actually be a part of this stream. The discussion is flowing, which is brilliant. I love to see that chat where I can't actually keep up. But yeah. Peter, well, I'll tell you what. So I'm not sure if my football playing days are over. My football days are over for playing. And so obviously people have been saying, oh, you should switch to referee rugby. The problem is I then found out that you don't even get paid to be a rugby referee. At least with football, we might get 25 quid, 40 quid to referee a game, no matter, depending on what level. But in rugby, you don't even get paid, possibly expenses. But I know you do it for the love of the sport, but yeah, maybe I'll have to. I'm quite quick, so that's a positive. I am quick over 50, 100 yards, so that's something. I would certainly be a winger, staying away from trouble. So yeah, maybe I can go for some training if I can fit it in with everything else I do. Well, I think I just answered your question, Blue Jay, without even realising. I would be away from the trouble, hoping to try and find space and just bolting it down one wing, I think. So probably a winger. That would be more likely to be what I am. To be fair, in football I would play as a fullback, if you know what that means. In the defensive line on the sides, that's where I play. Samson, am I a cricket fan? I'm not really. I think, yeah, it's not something I watch. I play lawn bowls and indoor bowls, and quite often it's obviously all the retired people. And they're always asking me, because I have my phone on me. They're always like, "Oh, what's the cricket score when in England obviously play in the summer?" I have no idea. ever what the scores mean. So I'm not really a cricket fan. I think if you're playing, the only good positions and fun positions are a batter, bowler, or a wicket keeper. Otherwise, you're just standing in, you're standing in the random bit of grass for hours. So yeah, it's not cricket. Sorry, cricket's not really my thing. Peter, I just think it's strange. And that would put me off because it's still a commitment. It's still your time that you're putting in. You're there still technically doing a job. The players, when you do it at grassroots level, the players aren't doing it for money because they are playing. And whereas a rugby is doing a job. So I think that's quite disappointing that the rugby players can't find enough money for even 20 quid for the game. I think that's wrong, personally. Yeah, no, I think someone did say, it might have even been you, Cypher, that said, obviously, quite often referees are for the second, might be play for the second team and that, but sadly, I think this is one that won't change my mind, and that's because I am a football referee who gets paid, and it's not like it's not like I'm getting paid enough to make a living, but as I said, it's still your time and the commitment you're putting in. So yeah, it just seems a bit of a shame. It really does. So has anyone obviously I see, Peter, I know what you mean. And I do know what you mean. Yeah. Be on the spot. Can you name any of the players on the field in this match? No. Hang on, I have to scroll up because I've completely forgotten her name. The number 11, was it? What was her name? Oh, this is really bad. I've just completely forgotten. What is the name of the lady that we were saying was really good? I can't even see it in your messages. That's really annoying. I can't even see. No, I can't even see. No, literally my mind. Jess Breach, I knew that. Honestly, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm disappointed in myself. I should have done better. Emily Scarrett, yeah. Breach is the bigger girl. Scarrett's the one that's been kicking and... Yeah. Sorry. I've let everyone down there. I should remember some names, shouldn't I, really? That's poor of me. So what's so obviously seeing as now people can see each other. If for anyone that's in England, I don't know about the other countries, as in Scotland, Ireland, Wales. Is anyone being forced to see their family? I say forced. Yeah, I'm refereeing tomorrow, so I get out seeing it. But the wife has to go see my mum and sisters, and thank God for that. Yeah. Aside from I'm close, man. I'm close. Got it. Sort of. Right. Blue Jay, your mum's birthday is next week. She's impossible to buy for. How old is she? Can we have an idea of how old she is and we can think of a present? Let's think of a present. Come on, Blue Jay, tell me. Tell me how old she is. I just got it the wrong way around, didn't I think. '40s, can't be more specific in good conscience. So she's not very old. What does a 40-year-old want? I don't even know because I'm not 40. Any suggestions, guys? Can't. Reese, man, candles are boring. Candles are boring. You got to think more exciting. Maybe a subscription box. That would be a nice idea. What about a subscription box? A knickers, a lingerie subscription box for a year. That is a great idea. And she might find it funny if you buy her a lingerie subscription box. Lava lamp. Guys, you need to get lava lamp candles. You need to think outside the box. Think outside the box, guys, please. Very disappointing. The thirsty guy, I think it's a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant idea. Alan, my main man, Alan. We're just talking, right? We were saying Blue Jay's mum is in the 40s. Impossible to buy for a birthday. Some people think candles and lava lamps. Lava lamps weird. You've got to think out the box for these things, don't you? You've got to think outside the box. Insurance plan, yeah. A retirement pension. See if she appreciates a pension or a lingerie subscription box. Our halftime analysis. Do I really need to give halftime analysis when it is all England? England have the... Well, I say they have the better passing. They've done pretty poor on passing on the wing. Okay, my halftime assessment. Jam of the Month Club? Mate, if she gets a Jam of the Month Club, right? How old do you think... Like she's in her 40s. She's not in her 70s. Jam of the Month Club. Come on, Alan. Oh, okay. I thought you wanted my halftime analysis. Basically, England are stomping all over Scotland. They got better passing. Physicality of England. Not physicality as in violence, but they are physically stronger by the looks of it. The twins, number 3, and the other one, they're just... I don't think Scotland have anyone physically as big and strong on the Scotland team that can match them in the rucks. Hence the one which they scored with the try, where they just pushed the ruck over the try line. Gin of the Month Club. Gin of the Month. People are loving gin at the moment, aren't they? Gin, they are loving it. I think... Yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks, Blue Jay. What more do you have to say, really? I think, Blue Jay and everyone else, I'm going to be on par very soon with Squidge Rugby. He is soon, he will have nothing on me. My analysis of rugby will be pinpoint. There you go. Blue Jay. This is not just a reaction channel. This is a channel full of people that want to support you to make a good birthday present suggestion. Yeah. I should probably turn the sound back up now the game started again.
Leaders that is fantastic to have in your squad. You can see what Scotland are doing on that last play though. Hannah Smith sees the
I did. Which video did I watch of his? I can't even remember which one it was now. Without checking, I can't remember which one it was. So obviously I did the reaction on the Wales-France game. I watched another one, but I can't remember what. Yeah, off the top of my head, I did watch another one. But for the life of me, as I said, I cannot remember. But actually, really nice guy, Squidge. I think his name's Robbie. I did email him to ask permission to use one of his videos, and he was really nice, actually, really friendly. And I found that as well the same as Andrew Ford, who I've used now a few of the videos. Andrew Ford, I messaged personally, and we've had a few communications back and forth, and it's lovely to know that these guys that have taken the time to make these videos, are happy for someone like me, who is learning the game, to actually use the videos. The Rob report. Oh man, that would have been. Sorry, hang on. Oh man, this is getting worse for Scotland. This is getting painful for Scotland. The Rob report. Man, that would have been such a good idea for a channel name. It might be too late now to. Change channel names. I think I might have to stick to Rob Reacts. My favourite game. I think my favourite game I watched. My favourite game I watched was probably the France versus England match. But that was because of that last 15 minutes. And I only say that because really the best game was the Wales-France game. However, I was a bit tipsy to actually remember it and to really focus on it.
She played for Saracens when she was 18 back in the day, and she's now 21. She's learned her trade, she's learned her skill set. I think that's all massively improved being away with England Sevens, but her acceleration and her footwork has always been the best part of her game, and that's not changed.
Easy. I could do that. I'm sure.
Into the Doncaster sunshine. Now lined up 40 points for England. She's only missed one so far this afternoon.
I think Pixie the cat's come to join me.
England's prettiest tries that they've scored today.
Come on in.
They're all 5 points. Cool on the score sheet.
Okay, Pixie the cat's come to me.
Just how quickly.
Oh man, how rude are women? Some women, Peter. Some women are so rude. Hoovering. Unbelievable.
Now England have actually had a couple of penalties here at the breakdown. One was for not release and that one for not rolling.
Yeah, she's just pestering me by my feet now.
Not had a word yet with the England captain Scarrett, but it's interesting if she does decide to go down that route soon. Scotland line up, another line out, and you've been impressed with the Scotland line out today.
You coming back up?
I really
Come on
have.
in.
I think Emma Wazzle's been dominating that really well. I'm really enjoying the battle.
You just see a tail.
Allcroft and Wazzle up in the air. I think it's been fantastic.
Now I'm getting distracted by the cat.
Daphne's tackle there again. Just
Okay.
going straight
There's
to the
Pixie.
places. So brave.
You watch the rugby.
Shouldn't have talked about the line-up.
No, we shouldn't, should we? Proper commentators curse there. Well, England had the choice there. They could have had a scrum on the 15. They decided to go for the line-out as Lot Davis just shows off her latest hair accessory, a massive white bandage. Big press there from Scotland to push England backwards. Well, another England penalty. This time they'll be happier with the direction it's going.
It's just clever play, isn't it? You can hear. I'm not sure if you can hear if you've got the ref.
The problem is you just want.
Marley Packer for me is consistently
It's so one-sided that you're just desperate for Scotland to close the gap. It's not even going to put pressure on England, really, because Scotland are never getting back, but you just want to see some fight.
Clever play.
Yeah, I think you just want to see that fight from Scotland. And I think they know that they're not going to win. That's the problem.
And Scotland now back up to 50.
France, Fiji in 2018.
Got short on this occasion, England.
The only problem is those really long videos. People don't want to get invested in them. That's the only problem. Now, Nori? I think that's Nori.
Oh, definite Scotland hand on that one. England going to have to try and tidy this. That one's just been lost forward, and Scotland there. Nice position for them to have a scrum here. Little mistake there. Lost the ball forwards. They've got 15 now, and they just need that little spark again, that bounce to get back into things.
Yeah, definitely. They need a score here.
Oh,
just to settle the nerves,
I didn't keep
just
it.
to give them something to fight for. It's really good pressure. You see Skeldon leading the lineup. You heard her at the last line out. Talon players.
They managed to stop the clearance, but it didn't quite fall right, did it?
The backline is sat waiting for Poppy Cleo to have a run at. You do not want to give Poppy Cleo a run at. I'm telling you now. Get off the line and chop her early. The way Megan Gaffney's tackling, you should put her in there. Just let her fly at Poppy's bootlaces.
Well, Walter is,
Did Fiji do a hacker before the game as well?
Actually, been a lot warmer today than I think.
Or a version of the hacker?
To be at Doncaster from the bright sunny days that both sides had midweek in the build-up to this game. Everyone thought this was going to be a bit overcast and dreary, but it is delightful conditions. If anything, they might be a bit hot.
Yeah, that's because we've got thermals on. But no, it's beautiful, and the pitch looks absolutely amazing as well. We're being real treated to some running rugby, aren't we?
Yeah, I assume a lot of the those countries around New Zealand do the hacker, or their form of it. Ah, pigs.
Scotland can go in either direction.
Yeah, Samoa, Tonga, etc.
Towards the near side.
I don't know if anyone here.
Coming in from
So Jonah, the name Jonah always just reminds me of Jonah from Tonga, which is one of Chris Lilly from. Chris Lilly is a
McDonald.
funny kind of, he impersonates, makes characters up, and he's got a character called Jonah from Tonga, who's basically a teenager who is very badly behaved.
That's the one for me for Smith. Just
If you haven't watched it,
just keep hold of the ball.
I think you got.
Really good position. All of the pressure is on England right now.
Oh man, I can't even think now.
Make ground every time. Recycle the ball.
I'm gonna Google it quickly.
Play again. You just don't need to throw it. This is never on. It's never on.
Yeah.
Just reaches in the pass.
If you haven't seen any of Chris Lilly,
Really good pedigree.
you need to watch Summer Heights High, Angry Boys. Alright. So look out for Jonah from Tonga. Oh, such a good series.
In this Scottish team, she's fantastic, which is why I'm saying that, because I know she's such a good player that she'll be disappointed without herself.
Stunning line out from Scotland. 7 metres to go until the England line. Skeldon, a little bit of show and go.
They're putting pressure on England a little bit.
Corners, here's Bilal.
But as you can see, they just don't have those big players to drive through the lines.
It's penalty advantage as well. Could it be
It
more?
seems that Scotland have only got those the petite girls that
Roland is tracking it
don't really have a bit of any size on them.
over the top.
You know, it can be useful, I suppose, for speed,
Get a couple of
but when it comes defensive, England can literally just sit in front of them and stop them.
Out to Smith, bouncing ball off the deck there, up into the hands in the end of Gaffney. Trying to work that really far channel. Plenty of England shirts though. Still going, here's Bilal.
Swiss, Mr. Swiss mercenary. What you can do,
Well, that looked like that
watch
was-
it live,
but we'll go
turn
back
the
to
sound
it
down,
could be a card.
sync it with mine, Turn the sound down on the iPlayer, and there we go. You can hear the sound from my stream, I assume.
In the ruck, we have a cynical action for the number 8 because she tapped the ball. Okay, yes, it's a yellow card.
Oh, we got a yellow card. Can Scotland
Number 8 is Poppy
take
Cleore
advantage
of
of a sin bin?
She's had a really sparkling game so far, but England now reduced to 14 for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? She's one of the world's best at cheating as well, is Poppy. I think she's really aggrieved that she doesn't get this turnover. She feels like she's in a good position.
Sorry, did the commentator just say she's one of the world's best at cheating?
Not sure. I can't see, to be honest, what that is, but
Did she just say the world's best at cheating?
And once her knee touches the ground, she can't keep
I'm assuming I heard wrong.
yeah, she's just hit it straight out of her hands, hasn't she?
Yes. Swiss Mercenary, what you need to do is get a VPN. If you get a VPN, you can get free ones. Just set it so it looks like you're in England or the UK, and you'll be able to get the iPlayer. I use NordVPN, which is paid, but it doesn't cost a lot.
For this side.
Scotland with the extra woman then.
But that's what I suggest you do if you're not from the UK.
What a platform as well. Catigan gathers, gives the ball to McDonald. Nelson now. Smith has it. Oh, there was an opening there.
Come on, Scotland. Come on.
Smith.
Drive, drive, drive.
McDonald gives it to
Drive. Come on.
Right, penalty advantage as well for a high tackle. England could be in more trouble. Nelson out towards Musgrove.
Come on, Scotland. They just cannot get through.
McDonald was desperate to take it quickly.
Silent trip, we have eye tackle in. 13.
Scotland just cannot break through, can they?
Well, nothing more given than the penalty.
Yeah, honestly, and you can get, honestly, Swiss, you can get free VPNs. They're not necessarily as good speeds, but because what they do, VPNs, I really need to get like a sponsorship for a VPN because the amount of times I'm telling people, so if anyone from NordVPN or anything like that's, you know, I'm happy to have free VPN. But what a VPN basically does is it goes from your internet provider to the virtual private network server, so like NordVPN server, and then to your computer, for example, or your router.
Thompson had to slightly check her run there. Nice lines though. Back now to Catigan again, who straightens.
England are just shutting them out. They just, and I think my point is pretty obvious actually, in the fact that that is the biggest player right now, the woman with the hat on. Scotland have got no big, strong girls. They're all fairly petite girls, and they just cannot get past England, who have got some big girls just sitting there. Yeah, I'll try and contact them, telling them I'm mentioning NordVPN on every stream.
Gallagher. The patience from Scotland is incredible. McDonald, real push back in there. Remember, England are
Literally, this has been about 5 minutes just sat. 5 minutes just sat. They've gone for a quick one, and even then they couldn't do it.
will not let McDonald take things quickly.
They've literally been sat.
Smith still got
She's got it. There we go. There we go.
try of the 2021 Six Nations. Pounded, and they deserve that. Really great finish, wasn't it? She showed the dummy.
I don't know if I'm being... is that me being rude, saying that they're petite? Normally a petite woman would love being called petite, wouldn't they? I'm sure.
As I said earlier,
But is that a bit rude in rugby? I'm not sure, just to be saying they're too petite.
look at the hands, just backs herself.
I mean no offence, obviously.
Dives over.
Well, it's Hannah Smith's sixth try in a Scotland shirt. She's been a lot more active, we have to say, in this second half compared to the first. Really stepped up to the occasion of her 25th cap. She's deserved that drink, definitely.
She really has. That's what happens when you just play through the line. When you keep
Actually, you've been here for. How long have you been here, Multi Tricky Dicky? You haven't been here for very long. Nice to have you here, buddy.
Shifting the ball around, allowed Jess to come up. She thought the pass was going to happen, and then just carries through the line. Lovely finish.
Got it.
Ellen Nelson adds
Come on, let's get a couple more tries. Let's make it a bit closer.
Scotland 10, and England still with a woman in a bin for the next near finals.
It's a really clever kick by Nelson, isn't it? We've spoken about the wind, but you just saw the flight of that ball really low, drilled in. That's where we saw Emily Scarrett hit one and it came off the post, so she's probably saw that and learned from it. As I say that, we see Shauna Brown running onto the pitch. Reinforcements are coming for England, and if you're Scotland, it's tough, isn't it, to have that amount of stardom on the bench.
Bryony Cleal is the woman who has making way for Shauna Brown to come on, and not a bad return to England duties for Bryony Cleal after what has been a tough time.
Yeah, it's amazing to see her back. As we said, it's 2 years between her first and second cap. It's just the graft that she's put in and how relentless she's been in terms of her rehab has been fantastic, and it's not been easy for her, but it's amazing to see her back out there.
Skeldon.
Oh, man. Some good takedowns by England.
High ball is flying. Really sunny skies there.
Oh well, I wish we had sunny skies and down south, because we don't have sunny skies here.
Nangi Tuima there with a high tackle, and it does look like they are going to take a look at this one. Nangi Tuima, of course, Harlequin's inside centre.
Right, TMO.
She's actually had a lot of injury, which is probably. I was about to say that the reason that Nangi Tuima hasn't perhaps racked up as many caps as people would expect is because she's had a lot of injuries. But our referee then,
what is going on?
Makes her way over towards the screen, because there
Having a
isn't a big
look.
screen here at Doncaster, so she has to make her way over. It looks a bit like football, doesn't it?
There you go. We're seeing some similarities there
Classy, isn't it, from her?
with football and rugby.
Look at the actions of two white. So this is a different
I think the sun's trying to come out, but it's been pretty overcast all day.
Now, this is
Not that it matters, seeing as I'm indoors all day, but
lots of discussions about the head contact protocols in the men's Six Nations, and it will be taken just as seriously here in the women's Six Nations.
No, I'm sorry, but literally you can't be given a card for that, surely.
Player is a tackle. It's a mitigating factor for me. Are you agree?
I agree, already.
Yes, it's a yellow card against the two white.
I agree.
No, I that's nothing. Surely that's nothing.
Well, that'll be one for everyone to discuss over their dinner this evening. But Lark Davis will be sent to the sin bin.
Really?
So the player is untackled, so it's a mitigating factor. Sorry, it's a yellow card, so number 2.
Well, Lark Davis is going to be making her way off the field of play, and it means England.
I'm sorry, but what was number 2 meant to do? Literally, number 2 stood still, and the player ran into her.
What can they do with these precious?
I understand laws are laws on that.
Before I said when
But
Mr. Thompson was off the pitch, I'd expect them to keep it tight. I'm expecting them to throw the ball around now. They're going to have.
don't just seem even a yellow. I think
or in the
that
front line.
there was no real shoulder to head. It was head to shoulder.
I think she's grateful for it just being a little break, but she's been brilliant again today. So
I don't know. I don't like that.
off,
I think that's nonsense, that one.
invigorate this fight back.
I'm sorry, if someone wants to run their head into your shoulder,
Scotland then.
because that's all it was,
2 extra women
just weird. I just don't get it.
down the far side. Smith there. It was a poor pass to her. Wasn't a lot she could really do with that. Hat should have left it. And expect a little bit of time wasting and a bit of chopping and changing as well, because of course England don't have a hooker at the moment.
Yeah, it was a really tough one, wasn't it? You saw what they were trying to do. 2 players coming through the line. Helen Nelson.
Guys, another break in play. If you haven't already,
Nelson wide to Hannah Smith. Get it to the
it would
wide
mean a
to
lot
Smith.
if you can hit that like button down below.
Nelson threw the ball where she
Tell
wanted
YouTube-
it to be rather
Tell
than
YouTube
where
that
she was. So
I'm doing something right.
come on a little bit flatter, just to make use of that extra man. If you play it too far back, then it just allows
Yeah,
the England defence to
Blue
drop.
Jay, I said I appreciate it's the laws, because it's
Unfortunately, that one's just gone down.
it's something that was mentioned loads when I was watching the men's game,
Amy Cockayne
the men's
has
Six
four women
Nations.
here to-
But
sorry,
just because
Ryan
it's the
Hackett,
laws
4 women here for Amy Cockayne to come on the field. So
doesn't necessarily mean the laws are right. But
Langi Tuima
Yeah.
has, just been reminded of what it's like to play on the flank as she joins on the far side. Always frustrating if you're the one who has to take the hit.
you know,
Yeah, definitely, especially on 50.
look, I understand that things are getting stricter, but that was just.
Running off the base here. She is an unbelievable athlete.
It wasn't even a matter of no intent. It was the fact that the Scotland player ran into the England player. How can you get out of the way of it? I'm not sure.
They weren't actually playing with just one flanker in that last scrum.
Cypher, mate, you moaning about the gym's opening.
There's a real arm wrestle
Um,
going on there with Kath O'Donnell.
Do some home workouts. Don't be lazy.
And those passes for Scotland just not quite going to hand. I feel that even though they're the ones with the extra players on the field at the moment, they're the ones feeling the pressure to do something.
So Scotland are now 2 men up.
Now,
Can they take advantage and get even a try out of it? That's the question.
Gaffney was well tracked down.
No, you could just be mauled.
You can tell she's fresh legs. She was right up in the face there. But England offside again.
Offside.
How long is left on that sin bin? Well, we said Cockayne was up in the face. She was offside.
Yeah, she was. It's just how eager she is, isn't it, to get off the line and make an impact, make a big hit. I think she'd argue that the ball was lifted, but you've got to just wait, especially if you're going that far in front of everyone else. It makes it so obvious.
To be fair, heading in football can be dangerous.
From Nelson and Thompson.
I think Raul Jimenez of Wolves is a perfect example. I think it was him going up for a header with Van Dijk, and Van Dijk just straight through, and he's only just coming back, and he's been out months because of the head injury. So I do understand the head injury thing.
For Christine Ballard today. Her first start for Scotland.
Yeah, I do understand. It's
Second row back row, ended up in the front row.
sometimes, as I said, just seems more than harsh.
Quite popular as well, is it? Belial.
One, two, three.
Her coach described her as a
Let's go, please.
great human being this week.
Oh, that's
Sounds-
nice. Yeah.
So, Skeldon puts it in.
Oh, just mauled again.
Those passes to hand for Scotland are really costing them.
I think that was Scarrett, wasn't it? If I'm remembering right.
Cattigan. McDonald. Nelson. Thompson. Goes to the boot, forces the England back through to turn.
Oh, watch the bounce, watch the bounce.
Outside the 22. Roland.
Stop now.
Right boot, and this time it's Scotland who have to turn around and go and get this one. Nice work, good communication there between those backs as Musgrove took it on. Rod Nelson just to get back in position as Skeldon goes
Talking about
through.
football with the heads, bearing in mind they've introduced at grassroots and whatnot that they're not to train heading anymore. So I think eventually it will come in where you're not we're not heading.
Hanging out there.
Because if at the end of the day, if people aren't learning to head at a young age, then they're not going to be at a good standard of heading when they're adults. So eventually, I think heading may be phased out in football slowly, granted, slowly. But I think, yeah, it will be phased out. That's interesting to think. I'm not sure what...
Be a little bit careful here because they are quite clearly getting
It might make it a little less
side of the
interesting.
referee right now, and as I say that, I think the ref's going to have a word.
You have 2 minutes imprisonment. Please, discipline, please. Yeah.
You'll just see Emily Scarrett now just calming everyone down. They know that they've got 13 on the field. I think people are trying a little bit too hard just to make amends, but what about some of those hands from Scotland in that last passage of play? Just lovely. You can see that their confidence is building as this game's going on. It's brilliant to see, and I just think that having 2 people off the pitch, they could have done this the whole time. They don't need to wait for England to be down to 13 men. I know it helps, but yeah, some lovely hands in those last passages.
Anna, seeing as we've obviously my channel's been a lot focusing on the referees because I'm a referee. I would like to think the referee today's done a pretty good job. I don't think there's been a lot for her to do, but she's had the yellow cards. She's given penalty advantages. I think she's done a pretty good job. What do you guys think? Do you think she's done well?
She was probably given it time.
You guys probably know better than me.
Yeah, very clever, very smart rugby player.
Okay, a few changes here for England. Poppy Cleal is back on the field of play. Also, we get to see Ellie Kildunn come on. And it's Sarah McKenna who's making her way off. Also, Lydia Thompson has gone off as well. Well, Sarah McKenna's not gone off. She's just gone to hang out on the far side wing. So Ellie Kildunn can slip in at fullback.
Oh, don't drop the ball.
Such frustration there for Scotland. England now.
Poor catch, Scotland. Really poor catch.
You just see Megan Gaffney there, just confirming the call. And even though England, there's still one woman down, you do just feel when they.
I think the referees had good communication. That certainly seemed to be a fairly strong point.
It's been a long time since they scored some points now. They want more.
Yeah, Cypher, that's what I was thinking. Oh dear.
Megan Gaffney, that's the first thing she's done wrong all game. Time off.
Well, you say it's not a knock-on, Peter. Technically, it slipped through her hands and made contact with her hands, didn't it?
Well, it has been a bit stop-start in this second half, but anything that's foul play really does have to be checked very carefully.
Yeah.
Simon Middleton's got his head
David, I think that's the same in football. If I've had a game where no one's really noticed me, it's been a good game. See, that's a head to shoulder. See, that should be a yellow card as well then, I assume.
That was a contact to the head there.
Or a red card. What do you think?
Molly Wright, who's not been on the field very long.
TMO, is it a red or a yellow? Because that is technically...
Against Vicky Cornborough.
Even then, I don't think it's that. But it is interesting because...
I think the angle on that.
Okay, we'll try to get the first angle.
It's interesting because when I've been watching rugby league, these are the sort of challenges they're making all the time.
And I don't have a clear mitigating factor. Are you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Do you have a number? 16?
Number 16.
So?
We'll just play at real speed once more early. You'll hear the refereeing teams talk about this. They go through the framework to confirm if there has been contact with the head or the neck, and then they discuss mitigation about if the player fell into the contact or not, and if there's no mitigation.
At least with this one, you can see that the Scotland player went in for the challenge and wasn't even bent down.
It's absolutely devastating for Molly Wright having just come onto the pitch as well, but it's a change in game, isn't it? It's a change in mindset, it's a change in everything.
The contact is direct in the head. You don't have a mitigating factor. It's a red card for the 16. 16?
See ya. Goodbye.
You don't have a mitigating factor, it's a red card.
I love how she just smiled and walked off.
Scotland will now play out the last 17 minutes of this fixture then, with just 14 on the field. England are currently on 14 already with the Lark Davis in the sin bin. But that will be such frustration for Molly Wright.
So I said, at least by that, but even...
A strong decision by the refereeing team to help make this game safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be as well.
Like I said, the 16 didn't even bend down. She didn't try and go low, did she?
Consistent with it across the board, and that's what these referees, they would have been sat in meetings and talked over and looked over all of this stuff for so long.
Yes, time up.
Both camps have had referees come in and do sessions with them this week. Sarah Cox has been into the England camp, and Holly Davidson has been into Scotland for these exact situations, and to talk through to the coaches about what to expect, how to referee situations. And speaking to Simon Middleton about it, he did say that when Sarah Cox has been watching training sessions, she said, no, I'd give a card for that. It was very similar in the men's Six Nations when the referees go in. Sometimes coaches need reminding that when they're looking
Now, Nori,
consistently reminding the players.
so
Yeah, definitely, and also the players as well, because
so you're talking about obviously football fans seeing the behaviour and disrespect. They end up going to rugby because they see the behaviour's better and whatnot. That's more or less why I'm here. The video I did on Nigel Owens, and I saw like, well, why are these referees getting so much respect? At the end of the day, this is why I'm watching rugby now. I'm trying to get into it because the behaviour, you know, the respect to the referees is so much more impressive than what you see in football. Yes, I'm a rugby fan. I'm a football fan. I'm a football coach. I'm a football referee. But football just lets you down all the time. It really does.
14 for England will be returned to 15 at the end of the sin bin as the ball is knocked on forward and Scotland get the scrum.
so frustrating for Claudia McDonald at the back of that. Is all you want as a 9 is really quick, clean ball. It's a really good carry from Tweema. She's twisting and turning, trying to get the ball back. And you just want your players to go past it. If you're there as a 9, it's all you want is people to blast the ruck, make it nice and clean, really good presentation back. And it's easy to play like that, but so often it isn't the way. I'm sure McDonald will have a lot to say about that.
Well, Evie Gallagher has gone off the field of play, and Lisa Coburn is on. Another change also for Scotland.
I'm sorry, that scrum just proved my point. You know, that was Scottish ball,
Great to see Jenny
and England literally just pushed that scrum back. That summed up my point of how Scotland have no real physical players, no size.
92 Ema passes a long bobbling ball away that Jess Bridge tries to sort out, but she just runs on the pitch, and it'll be a Scotland lineup.
I really hope some cameraman has got that little backwards roll for her Instagram as well, because she's big on Instagram.
Well, that will be a worrying moment for Scotland fans, seeing that big strap there on the left leg of Rachel Malcolm. Frustrating for her, no doubt, as well. Of course, Scotland next week, that's going to be their rest week before they take on Italy on the 17th of April. Claudia McDonald going to gather the ball for England. Big hand off there by the Wasp player. Here comes Poppy Clear. She gets the big pass out towards the far wing. Still coming this time through McKenna. Brown.
Oh, bulldozer.
Having the ball in hand. Rowland. Long pass out. McDonald then. There's Kill done. She knows where the try line is. Soft hands once again. Ward. To Ema. Nice inside to Breach. Looking for work. Real slow stuff here from England. They know they don't need to rush it. Cleo. Just gets an extra metre every time Poppy Clear.
They're just bulldozing across.
Rolling over the line.
Just
Scotland steal.
Scotland have nicked it.
Line by Scotland.
Fair play to Scotland there. Fair play to Scotland.
Knocked on, so
England was so
we'll get the
close.
scrum, but a real moment of magic just to stop that last effort.
Brilliant play, isn't it? Just that never say die attitude that they've been talking about all week. Real grit and determination.
Support. So
Right on line, but fantastic patient.
at the, I say at the higher levels, when it comes to teams that have to have stewards, so when you go to grounds with maybe stands, they might have designated stewards. So in that sense, you would speak to the steward to get rid of them. If I'm doing youth football, if I'm doing grassroots football, I will get rid of a person. I once had, I was doing a youth game, and I had a granddad. Literally, the game was going fine. There wasn't really much going on. And then I had a granddad on the sideline started calling me bent, a cheat, all this sort of stuff. And I basically went over and I said, "We're not carrying on until you're gone." And he walked off grumbling. I made sure I put a report in, and hopefully it was dealt with. No idea after the incidents happened if it has been dealt with, but fingers crossed. But yeah, in some sense, a referee can get rid of spectators. But quite often, as I said, if there's stewards there, you tell the stewards to remove them.
Yeah, and so important that Thompson may touch on that one, because the last thing you want to do is give Ellie Kildare ball to run forward. Look at this as the turnover though. Lisa Thompson again in the mix. Oh, it's Hannah Smith, sorry. Just a really nice rip. She allows the body weight of Tatisha Harper to go down on the ball as she just steals it away from her. Lovely work.
Claudia McDonald finds Roland. Tuima just hanging.
I think it's tricky. I think it's tricky though, in the sense of
Jonesy's on as well.
if you see an incident, then fine. Yes, you can deal with it if you see an incident. But if you don't see an incident, it's all hearsay. It's, for example, on a football pitch, if you get a player coming up to you and said, "Oh, this player spat at him," if you don't see the incident, or if you've got liners and they don't see the incident, there's nothing you can do. So, for example, it's the same thing when you've got spectators and there's racism or whatnot, and you don't know exactly who did it. You can only do things like after the game, you would report the certain club to the FA. It's a tricky one. I think it's a tricky one when it comes to spectators, though.
Roland's just not quite worked out the win for me. Every time there's just a little bit too much on it, or it's bouncing before, you want to try and get that into the arms of the player running on. It really does test the Scotland defence though, because it means that they can't come too tight.
Yeah?
Well, that was the high tackle on Vicky Fleetwood there.
White, stand here, stand here. Yep.
Not deemed worthy of a review though on this occasion. Ball in from Cocaine. Finds Ward.
Are they just going to drive? No, it's too much turning.
Here comes the train. It's going, and it's over. Someone scored that. Doesn't matter who it was. Possibly Poppy Cleo. And that just continues a very good afternoon at the office.
Oh, this is painful for the painful for Scotland women, isn't it?
It's your main girl, isn't it? Poppy Cleo again. I'm bored of talking about her. She's that good. Just again, look at the setup. You see that initial drive, and it's just the patience of England. They wait for the onslaught from Scotland, then they reset, then they go to work. Poppy Cleo manages to get her hands on the ball at the back.
Nori, I'm going to link you a video I did.
As if they weren't good enough.
I'm going to link you a video I did, which I speak about some of the difficulties we have being a football referee. And like you said, it's the support that you don't get.
Right boot in from her.
And it's you people say oh well, if the referees just decide to give out the cards, then the bad behaviour will stop. But it's just not quite as simple as that.
Obviously, in the World Cup final in 2017, when we lost Danielle Waterman, Meg Jones had to step up at the 13 shirt, and Emily Scarrett went to fullback, but we weren't used to running as a team like that. So important that these things are done.
So Nuri, I've just put a link into one of my other videos that you might be interested in.
Now for Scotland as well.
Right, hang on. Blue Jay, Rob, if you're interested in women's sport. Am I looking a video up, am I?
Well, Scotland have really got to try and push something here. Try and find a way. Try and finish on a bit more of a high on this, but you feel England, as a Jess Breach just ends up a little bit too close to the line. Do you just feel Scotland just need a bit more confidence again? You do feel that that red card has slightly knocked them.
Yeah, it really has, hasn't it? They were starting to get into their stride, they were starting to throw the ball around, lovely little hands, lovely offloads. And at the minute they're just sat back, they're allowing England to come onto the ball, they're allowing England to play the game they want to play. They need to go and impose themselves, especially in defence again.
Well, that's it. Molly right
I will
there.
try and find a good video of Maggie Alfonsi.
Got a bit of a treatment also going on to one of the Scotland players. I think we've got a bit of a nosebleed that we're dealing with at the moment in the middle of the field, so they'll just wait to tidy up this. It's always a little bit of a significant moment as we see just Leanne Riley smiling away there behind her masks on the bench. That when Emily Scarrett isn't on the field of play, it's a moment because
Trying to find a decent video of this Maggie Alfonsi.
Sarah Hunter isn't playing today, and they were for a long time considered the brains.
I tell you what,
And when they're not there,
Blue Jay, if you can find a good video of Maggie Alfonsi that isn't necessarily on the official World Rugby page, send me a link.
It's fantastic. I think she's really stepping into that mould. But for me, when Emily Scarrett's not on the pitch, she's played 92 caps. I think she's started 90 of those, and she's never really been subbed other than twice. So it's uncharted territory for this England squad to have Emily Scarrett.
I'll have a look for Portia Woodman. Portia?
Nice hand on it there. I think it was Harriet Mills who made a nuisance. There's no one there at the back playing scrum half for England. They had the ball. Bit of a slower to get it out though. Vicky Fleetwood, who's at the bottom of that one, being squeezed. Little kick through there by Roland. Oh, just.
It's hard to find these videos that aren't just from the Rugby League website, Rugby Union YouTube channel.
Wants to see. We know what she can do, ball in hand. She is so dangerous running at the line. But that is fantastic work. Just really classy game management. Pin Scotland back in the corner. Have a line out on your own line. Let's see what you got.
Well, ball comes down for Scotland, but this isn't the corner of the field they want to be playing in. They might just about have enough space to get that one out.
Forward pass.
Down the other way, but it's a forward pass.
Yeah, looked like a forward pass. Even I could see that one.
Oh, that's the last thing that Scotland want right now. Zoe Allcroft there. No number on her back in this second half, but she's just taking on a bit of oxygen.
She's been brilliant as well, hasn't she? 8 carries, 15 tackles. Just gets through so much work. She's also one of those players, Zoe Allcroft, that always catches the eye, because it's not always what you can see in your direct eye line. It's the work she does off the ball that's so vital. Her work rate's unbelievable. I'm lucky enough to play with her at club, and she's just fantastic.
Here come England. They can see the line.
So, should they not be getting it out of the ruck?
Sarah Hunter special, but Poppy Cleo says, I tell you what, I'll have another.
I thought they were meant to get it out of the ruck,
Number 8 for England.
not just take it with them.
Or is it?
Are they not meant to take it out of the ruck and then play it?
Yep.
I didn't realise they can. I thought, sorry, with scrums. They can obviously do it with rucks, but with scrums.
Could you check if you have a possible
Yeah, I meant a scrum, ignore me. But I didn't realise they can do that with a scrum.
My decision is try.
Okay, your decision is try. Okay, thank you. So they're just looking to see then. This will be
Poppy
tight.
Cleo.
Come to the screen and I shall
Touching
wait.
this
Okay, as long as the ball's controlled.
I'd love to see the GPS.
For Orly Groslow. Poppy Cleo looks on. Now, I always find it interesting where teams wait. England haven't gone back down their other end, so clearly they're not sure.
Yeah, also Poppy's one of the gamers. There's a group of them that play on the PlayStation all the time. They've got their own little signs, and she's not done that.
Okay, see, I'm learning. I am learning.
If she's managed to stop this as a try, because for all money we thought England was scoring. Really good control at the base.
Surely that's a try.
Okay, already I have a decision.
Yes.
The white player clearly loses control of the ball
Lost
before
lost
she grounds it on the try.
lost control of the ball.
She's
Really?
human.
Maybe Poppy Cleo knew
Said she
all
lost
along.
control of the ball.
No try.
I must be seeing something slightly different.
Still not a bad afternoon though for Poppy Cleo.
Yeah, it doesn't deter at all from the game she's had, does it?
Hmm.
It's a really difficult
I'm a
skill.
bit confused by that one.
Pressure as well from Jenny Maxwell at the base.
Yes, you have advantage for stand up. It's a penalty here. No, it's no call. Stand up. Scrum.
Well, Abby Ward there, who's captain for England.
I'd say I'm watching that and I'm-
She would have got a penalty try out of that one, but our referee already Groslow pointed out that it was in the act of scoring the try. That
Saying it's a knock on,
essentially knocked
she
off,
said.
So England will have to go again.
Yeah, you don't really see a penalty try given on the first attempt.
I didn't. I thought she went down and just landed on the ball and it touched the ground.
Anything happens, but lovely
Don't know.
management.
Are they going to try and do the same thing again? No.
Well, here comes Cleo. She was denied just a moment ago, and she is.
They are mobbing her.
towards that line. Not on this occasion. Here we go down the back line. There's Meg Jones with the pass, but it's been knocked on there by Kildun. And it's going to be a Scotland scrum.
Considering how quickly that ball was going over, the scrum was going over from the previous scrum, Scotland have done so well to stand their ground there, but just the hands, for me, England have got a little bit too flat. They're too eager to get over the line. Hold your depth, run onto the ball, the passing.
I think that's one you've really got to look at and know what you're looking for.
In front of Ellie Kildun, she just can't keep hold.
Okay, so there's Ellie Kildun. In a few moments' time, we'll be giving player of the match. Get your thinking cap on there, Natasha Hunt. That one just crumbles down to the ground.
I find it really weird that the commentator gets to decide the man of the match or player of the match. I do find that quite strange.
Well, they're just going to have a little bit of running repairs here, so let's use this moment to find out who your Women's Six Nations player of the match is, Natasha Hunt.
I think for me, there's been.
To be fair, Blue Jay,
performances
I
across the board.
can
Obviously, Jess Breach
I
has
can
carried
try
the
and do
ball
it. If you want to
game,
send me
but
one of the
Emma
clips, I can try and do
Saracen
it.
has been unbelievable.
And
Thompson's really
if it's
stood
something that
for
can't
this
be put on
Scottish team.
YouTube,
The player on the screen
join the
has
Discord
talked about
server,
all afternoon.
buy me a coffee, and you can join the private channel with all the videos that I can't put on YouTube. That's always an option if you want to support a small little YouTuber like me.
She is a very, very good rugby player.
Poppy Cleo then is.
Now I know what you mean by who else would. So it's
Does England get closer to that?
when there's cup finals at youth level at grassroots level, it's quite often one of the like the chairman of the league or the president of the league or a special kind of dignitary that decides.
And of course, when it's a penalty try, you automatically get the full 7. We don't do kicks at goal anymore. The confirmation then it will be Louise McMillan who is going to the sin bin. So Scotland will play out the last few moments of this match with 13.
We've got another
So
sin
little
bin.
time left on the clock. Who's got one last throw of the dice?
She's gone. Asked why, and she's gone.
I enjoyed that from Macmillan. She just stood there looking at the ref like, me? Really?
Right then, not long left to travel then to the full-time whistle as Rowland sends the ball back down into Scottish territory. Chloe Rowley. Still Scottish ball. Put back by Maxwell. Out on that far side. Head down by Gaffney. Maxwell again. Bit of a juggle with the ball there. It's gone forwards. And that is
Blue Jay, let's close this
80 minutes on her.
post-match chat. Blue Jay, we have sin bins. We have sin bins now at the grassroots and lower level, but it's for dissent. So abusive. I say abusive. Yeah, bad language towards the referee and things like that. So we have this in sin bins now, but it needs to be brought up at the top level. It needs to be in the Premier League and at all the top levels for it to really make a difference, because you need the discipline to be shown at the top so younger children learn that it's not acceptable. At the end of the day, if kids are watching Premier League players gobbing off and abusing and surrounding the referee, they're going to think it's acceptable. So yeah, things like that have got to start at the top really, or at least implemented at the top. Well, that was a bit of a one-way street there, wasn't it? I suppose you guys, a lot of you did say England were going to win. I think all of us were probably hoping that Scotland put a little bit more of a fight up, but I just think the physical. I think the size of English players, they've got such a mix. They had those faster players, the smaller girls. They had the bigger women that were physically, and you could see that with the rucks and the scrums where they were just able to drive forward. A massive difference. Well, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. That will really help the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, and also we've got the Discord link in the server as well. So if you want to join on Discord, that would be amazing. Well, I'm going to end the stream right now. Have a lovely rest of your bank holiday weekend if you're in the UK. If you're not in the UK, then have a nice weekend.